Hey Gemini, Ali from Indigo Ascension. Welcome to your weekly quick read for the week beginning October the 18th. Now, I didn't have a chance to expand on it last week. I wanted to save it for this week as we go through Mercury retrograding in Scorpio with that super new moon energy in Libra last week, which we'll still be feeling the effects of. I wanted to make mention of how this actually causes emotional challenges because of the Scorpio shadow archetype. Now, we've got Venus in Virgo, which clashes with that super new moon in Libra. Libra is all about balance, beauty, perfection, if you like. Well, not perfection, but harmony. And the shadow archetype of Venus, of Virgo, I should say, especially Virgo in Venus, is wanting things to be perfect in order for them to be beautiful and harmonious. That's where we're going to feel the clash. Coupled with Mars going retrograde in Aries, we're going to be seeing the shadow archetype of that, where there's a very me focused, okay? So whether that's happening around us, whether that's happening within us, there's going to be a tendency and a possibility towards selfishness and not thinking of the other, not thinking of all, not being able to see the bigger picture of the why. Welcome, here we go with victim mentality or whatever the case may be. You're just being aware of it, okay? Being aware of how that energy naturally plays out within our ego self so that we can properly process that towards new perceptions, healthier emotional balances, so that we really can embrace a new way of doing things. All right, there's the envy card for you guys. Underneath this, there's acceptance. There's some level of work you guys have been doing when it comes to envy, whether envy is being directed at you, whether you've been experiencing envy. And hey, when we go to the shadows, thanks to Scorpio, because Mercury retrograde is all about speaking unspoken truths. How have you allowed Mercury? How have you allowed envy to influence your solar plexus in one way or another, and ultimately which influence your base chakras, Gemini? Okay, the opinions of others and how they sort of falsely connect into us. All right, there's deeper truths around envy. The envy card talks about I am the same as everybody else, but with different challenges. Really going to the heart. Like while Mars is retrograding in Aries, even if it's a shadow aspect, when I said, there's a focus on self and really getting to the heart of me and not focusing on everyone else. What is it that makes envy a challenging experience? Are we able to process that in healthy ways, whether it's being experienced through us and by us, or whether it's being directed at us? I feel there's a healing here and an acceptance that ultimately leads to happiness. Okay, if holding on to envy sort of pollutes our visions and potentials for happiness, is it really what we want? Whether that's being directed at us or we're experiencing it. Okay, let's have a look, Jam. In the past is the Seven of Coins. You've got the Judgment card showing up, and you've got the King of Wands. This, you may be connecting in to a fire sign. You may have fire sign placements in your chart. The past is definitely coming back up to play, and in many ways I feel you guys are reviewing and doing a very practical review of what your Ten of Pentacles is. Okay, is this the dynasty? Is this a marriage? Is this a commitment? Is this a business? Your career path? How are you going to build that nest egg? And what are you actually awakening to that was perhaps initially a shock to the system? I can see here you guys are moving from envy energy into acceptance. Envy energy can be challenging, all right? Why do things happen to me and not to other people? Why do I have to, you can really, it doesn't just have to be direct jealousy about a person's station in life. It can be processed in many different ways. I feel there's a strong level of acceptance that's ultimately leading you towards your happiness, Gem. But it had to be a shock to your system so that you could redefine what your Ten of Pentacles was going to be for the future. And ultimately, it's a reset of the heart chakra when you choose to embrace the victory of happiness. Okay, the Chariot card showing up. It's all systems go with this commitment, with this long term, which ultimately leads you to a higher station in life, stepping into yourself and your empowerment and feeling like you are the one who, created all this success. It was through your hard work and perseverance. Like, I can't stress this enough. What I'm seeing here is someone that's really battled through deeper, stronger emotions. Perception shifts, perhaps. You've really upgraded third eye chakra stuff, okay, which makes us look at our past in a whole different way, which makes us look at our present and our future potential in a whole different way as well. You've processed the fires of envy or whatever jealousy means for us when we continually look outside of self in comparison, okay? It's about genuinely embracing true confidence in who you are, whether you have fire placements or not. The King of the King of Wands, he's very driven. He knows who he is. He knows what he wants. He knows what he brings to the table, and he gladly shines. Okay, so too does the Queen of Wands. Something here from the past where you're doing a practical assessment of how much you really are going to invest in anything that looks less than happiness, looks like it's less than happiness for you. And I can apply that to love, I can apply that to career, I can apply that to state of being. Like, I feel like you guys are going through a massive change and you're redefining what marriage, commitment, your dynasty looks like, okay? Something had to be shaken up in a marriage, like commitment, in a marriage, in your business, in order for this to happen. But where it actually takes you, and sure, I'm going to say, when it first happened, you would not have even looked at it like it's actually pushing me towards my destiny. You're learning a lot and you're actually integrating a lot here. Okay, there's victory here, there's commitment, and like I said, it leads you to your success as you stand in your own self-empowerment. And you will be looking back, and I'm even going to take you to September next year. You will look back and see how far you have come. Okay, my dear? Strong reading. I feel you're going to start to feel like the light at the end of the tunnel this week in many ways, if you have been processing this heavier energy, if you've been processing some deeper perceptual shifts and cognitive dissonance, whatever the case may be. All right, that was your general reading, Gem. If you wanted a personal one, please do go ahead and check out the link above to the Indigo Ascension shop where you can book one online. Alrighty, until next time, my dear, have a beautiful week. Take care.